So now the topic is more that generally in uh, the ethic or training is many ways you can training. For in this uh, earlier session they talk about like if all these daily life activities, if with a mindfulness and with a good heart, and all of these other the Bodhisattva's activities, training of the Bodhicitta mind. However, is here is that even though there's so many ways to practice, but main thing is that more the mind training itself is the most important. So you're saying that Shonje Sembe Hyawatana Ewa Seme Ban Songani Tanje Jaba Maninams. You're saying that in the day they have been taught many kind of things to practice, with way of the Bodhisattva life. But then we cannot do all of this. No one can maybe almost say that do everything. But we have to think of what the really most important one. The most important one we have to keep, right? So the most important is that you're saying is the training of mind. And Buddha says also, he says that the Bodhisattvas, you cannot train everything, he says, basically. You shouldn't do these things, he says also. You should not train so many kind of things. But you should do one thing, one thing. And that is the training of mind. Or keep the good mind. He says like that. But today we are doing all kind of things, all kind of things. Here from there. But the problem is that if someone asking you, what is the manual practice? And we have no answer. Do we? So, maybe some people say, I will practice Mendo. But there's many things, What is which one? Are you really man practice of Doji Samba? Are you man practice of Bodhicitta, refuge, four commentaries? So what the main things from there? Then we have nothing. So there is also, I think we need to really consent very much. So I think all of us here, a very busy life. I can very clearly see. I just told to nowadays my Tibetans, I'm a little really nowadays scared to ask to people help. Not like before, when I was first times, earlier times when I were in the Finland, I would easily call to people, hey, can you help me? You need to go to there, something. I didn't notice that your lifestyle. But then I living here a long time, and then I see everyone is very busy, They don't have time even for their families. So I'm really scared to ask to help, So I know that most of you are very busy, right? So therefore, we cannot really do many things, but I think we should have something. So that is the training mind, or like with mindfulness, or practice of the Bodhicitta mind, whatsoever, Bodhicitta mind with mindful and what is this? Vigilant
introspection.
Vigilant introspection. I'm a little bit American, okay? So Bodhicitta with this. I think earlier also said that if you really want to be accomplished of benefit of yourself, we need to practice of Bodhicitta. If you want to do benefit of others, we should do Bodhicitta mind. If you do benefit of both, we should do practice of Bodhicitta mind. So the chapter, the benefit of the Bodhicitta, read again and again. Those are the really the essential of the Buddha's teaching. And they mentioned about also this, the, what they call essence of the milk, which is butter. You know, so we try to get one thing, one. And that is also not just only from merely, mouth, but really try to put in the mind. That is something that we are kind of, today we listen to these teachings. And with this, then anything we do is always very good, everything. Once that mind is a little bit become kind of melt with Bodhicitta mind, then whatever you practice becomes very genuine, very genuine. And that is really the cause of the enlightenment, for sure. So therefore, I think that virtue, there is called worldly virtues, virtue which call just for the liberation, virtue we call total enlightenment. So there's many kinds, even one same actions, but it goes to the different levels because of the how we change of the mind. So anyway, here that okay, the action of the Bodhisattva are unbounded. So the teaching says, means from sutras, of these until the goal is won, embrace the practice that purify your mind. I think they translate as purifying, but there's really, I'm not sure how different of the training of mind and purifying is same or different. Those English speakers.
I think there is difference.
Okay. And in Tibet, what this yang is can be purifying, but can be studied. When you study what we call Log Yang, that means also training. So here is more, I would say, training. Okay, if there is different, then it's training mind. The commentary says we cannot, of course, if you can do everything, that is really excellent. Then you are very special. But if you cannot, then but you just try to train your mind with mindfulness and vigilant introspections. Okay. And then the next is the called Sem Chepa Jibu Jogajos. Then here they're talking about like the particular, that training or like the purifying of the defilements, I think more particular. Nyendong, Semo, Lansing, Pombo Sumbran, Demarja, Jabon Fonche, Semten, Tongan Desha. So when we are practicing of the Bodhicitta or way of the Bodhisattvas, particularly if you really took vows, and then try to do things, then of course we are very beginner. Our minds are very fragile. We are just 1 year baby, sometimes standing but just fall down. Sometimes a little walk but it falls down, right? So therefore we have a lot of like downfall actions. So then what we need to do is that we need to confess. They're talking about this is what they call, here it says reciting, what is thrice means what?
3 times.
Thrice by day and thrice by night. The sutras in 3 sections rely on the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas, purifying a rest of your transgressions. So there is one sutra called 3 Session Sutras. The 3 Session is the prostration, confess. Okay, now anyway, here is a little different. Okay, confess. Here says rejoicing, and they call dedications. But actually, this threefold session sutta, we call Confess of the Downfall. The three session of sutta of the Confess of Downfall is like four pages. So we Tibetans, we learn things like very young by heart. So we know that we call sutta of this confession of downfall of the three sessions. In there is prostration, and then confess and dedication. So here the commentary they use rejoicing, so that might be in special way, okay? Jalwasi Ronji Bala, Shazunawada, Sonja Sambala, then Toju Sonji, okay, I think this is a little bit like little different way to yes, okay. Anyway, the recite of these three folds, and also that take refuge to the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas of the 10 directions, and try to also rely on the bodhicitta mind. Or with bodhicitta mind and the refuge, then you should recite after this three sessions of the what they call three sessions. Okay, the sutra in the three sessions, you can recite those things for the 3 times. Or 6 times, the 3 times day, 3 times night time. That is the very excellent. Then if we cannot, that try to do at least maybe 1 time. Even if we cannot, then I think we have every 2 weeks the thought. This is really important, this can be that confess and everything is there. So therefore, in the Vajrayana practitioners, we do thought, this is like Sojong. Sojong is what?
This purifying and renewing ordination vows.
Okay, purifying,
renewing vows,
renewing vows, samayas, trainings, etc. So in the Vinaya terminology is vows, and Mahayana the terminology is training, and Vajrayana terminology is they call samayas. Basically, let's say is that meaning something you promise, and then that we call the name is like that, okay? So at least, so therefore I think that, since I move here, we have always doing these things, and that is like somehow like it's quite important. So should participate. Nowadays also we are doing with Zooms and also locally. So everyone welcomed if we ourselves wish to become better and better, happy and happier. Those are some of the cause and condition of the happy years, which Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, Vidadaras, great Titans taught again to us. Okay. Then this is also one of the main topic. They call all trainings in order to become perfect. The branch of all trainings have become perfect. Coming these topics like that. This training will be like that. And here is the few things. When we are training or trained, we need to really do some kind of diligent effort. I think we are weak about effort. I know myself included also. That we need to be more diligent. In this scholar Sasha Pendita says that if you want to become excellent, you can be hard for some years. Keep a habit to the dukes. And he says that if you want to become wiser, and then when you are training, is suffering. But if you are just only, he says that, attached to the happy, and then you will suffer all your rest of life. They were shown like Thomas. if we are, like more like rely on that kind of lazy and joy, then we never become, learned ones. So, however, the first is the training to the train of the efforts, how to efforts to training. And then is a training with many objects, how to do things. Then training to the particular, to the train to benefit of others, to give to others. Then when you are trained something, you need to rely on the masters. So they how to follow the masters they talk about. And and then when you are studying more and more, then maybe the best things, we need to read the books of the Indian masters, Tibetan masters. Even if you are more deep, then we need to really read the Buddhas. Even this for the commentary of this Bodhicitta Avatar, there is 10 great commentary by Indian masters that you can find from there. But all those it comes from the Buddha's teaching. So such like they are mentioned about that the Palvoche and the many, I think now some of these also, these sutra teachings are translated from these 84,000 translation groups. So we need to read those things because they are really sourced from them. So therefore there is like 5 different things, topic will come in. And first one, they're talking about efforts. Wrong, yen, oil, nika, chicken, papas, nika, medela, chedishawa, wrong, yen, oil, wrong, nika, shawa, yali, lapi, papas, nika, here says that even for yourself, even for others, or wherever you are, whatever you're doing, we need to train what's supposed to you need to train. If we say that we are training with Bodhicitta mind, then we really need to concern things. Wherever, whenever, for whoever. So this root text, what they say is that whenever or wherever and whenever and whatever you are doing. I think before session they talk about even we walk, even we eat, all these things are, if you are very aware of the mindfulness, that is already kind of, awareness, what call this, vigilance, introspection, for your sake or for others. Implement with diligence to teachings given for the situations. So I think Dhamma practice, if you really kind of, how you could say this, daily life things, daily life things, if we can kind of think, daily life things, if we put with our practice, that is kind of practically also very good, but also long term it can be also very good. So today it's like the daily life things we are just keep us like, daily life things. And then we practice is like very separate. So these two things if become very separate, then we cannot use ourselves in the Dhamma properly. So we should kind of try to, how to say, transform, daily life things. We have to do daily life things. As we are householder, we cannot avoid this. But these things are with kind of some kind of hold by with Dharma. In ancient time, the Indian kings, Tibetan kings, and they are, practitioner too, but also they don't give up their kingdoms. So such kind of things we need to know. I think at least, small of our daily life, if we are kind of, blessed of the Dhammic mind, that is very good. So we need to concern these things, not separate all these things, okay? Otherwise then it didn't work. Anyway, then now here they're talking about second, they're talking about the training of the many objects. What they say here, we will see. Okay. So that this is also one thing. That sometimes we know something, then we think, no, we don't need to do things. Or sometimes we've done something, like 100,000 Vajrasattva, then after we think we don't need to do. Not like that, I think. We can train in many different ways if you have become very good practitioners, you know. Why? Because that our intention is helping limitless of sentient beings. So helping limitless of sentient beings, if we know only one thing, we cannot help limitless of sentient beings. But if you know Vinaya teachings, Mahayana teachings, Vajrayana teachings, Dzogchen teachings, then I think you can help limitless of sentient beings already, right? Or if you know Bodhicitta, ethics, generosity, all six parameters, you can have also many people can really help to teach, help to guide, things like that. But if you know only one thing, then we cannot much help. So therefore, if you have read Bodhisattvas, they have returned everything. That is what they're saying here. So this is indeed no field of knowledge that the Buddha's offspring should not learn. Yes, it's not so, I think. And for those who are well versed in all these ways, there is no action this target of merit. If this is so whoever learned the all things, and they have everything can be merit and wisdom. So that they're talking. So one of the Buddha Matthiya says in the Buddhism they talk about 5 objects. So those who are, even you are high realization, like 8 bhumis, still you are not enlightened. So they are learning these 5 objects because of for the benefit of others, because of the really you can help, you can remove of the obstacles and collect of the good circumstances if you know these 5 objects. So whatever we studied with Bodhicitta mind, then everything is together. Accumulation of merit is there, accumulation of wisdom is there, knowledge is there, you know, and all is there. So therefore, that advice or training the many objects with the mindfulness. And then next is more talking about benefits to others, training of the benefit to others. So training of the benefit of others. This is really very wonderful. Directly or indirectly, we should not do else than benefit of sentient beings. So only for the benefit of others or sentient beings, whatever we collect it, we dedicate to the all sentient beings. So whatever does is only for the benefit of the sentient beings, and the virtue is also dedicated to. And when you do such things, there's such merit, and even that we just dedicate to the sentient beings, direct then or indirectly. Do nothing that is not for others' sake, and solely for their welfare dedicated your every action to the gaining of enlightenment. How wonderful word. I think this is special words, right? And then here they're talking about if you really want to do such things, then we need also such great masters, follow the masters. Lama maybe here on the Sonje Shiba Myonis, they says in the Tantric teaching that without the gurus there is no such Buddhas. Similarity Again, in the Tantric teachings, the teacher, they use name as guru, and then what they call in the Mahayana teachings, they call spiritual friends. In Vinayana teachings, they call abode. So there are different names, but they are talking about same things. So here says Tapa Gevashin in the Rovina Tepatashi. Tashi in. Okay. Then you're talking about, maybe I think first I read this root text and then I try to tell, okay? Thought Gevashin is so never at the cost of life or limb. What it says, forsake your virtues, or forsake your virtuous friend, your teacher, learned in the doctrines of the Mahayana, spring in Bodhisattva display. One more, two sentences. Learn how to attend upon your Guru as described in Hiri Sambhava's life. Okay, Hiri Sambhava's life. So in this, they talk about Mahayana, particularly they use Mahayana, I think maybe first time. So the Mahayana, there's 7 kinds of qualities. So Maha means great, great. So the Mahayana followers, the vision is very great than like Vinayana teachers or Vinayana followers. Because Vinayana followers, their vision, their view is for themselves free from. But Mahayana, they talk about limitless of sentient beings. So therefore, the kind of object is very, very big. Maha is big. And then in the Vinayas, they practice for themselves. But in the Mahayana, they practice of the benefit of the self and others. So therefore, the accomplishing is more also higher than the Vinayana teachings. And then the Vinaya practitioners, like their highest result is we call ahats. Ahat means they're free from negative emotion, but there's no such kind of also that realization of the all phenomena are empty, limitless, or what's called interdependent origination. They don't understood such things. They do only self is not exist. They know selflessness, but not phenomenallessness. So therefore, the Mahayana practitioners, their wisdom is much more vast, higher than Vinaya practitioners. That's why also they call Mahayana. And then Sendhu. So in the Hinayanas, the ahats is highest the destination or whatsoever is, it took 100 lifetimes. That is the very big things for them. But in the Mahayana practitioners, they talk about 3 eons they are practicing. Really, if you have such kind of view that my project is in 3 eons, I think maybe this these life things are maybe it's very short, right? And maybe we have some hope also. But today we think only this life, and then our progressive is very small, and the topic is very big. Then we sometimes we lose our hopes. So we think it's that impossible. It cannot. But if we think of the little bit long time our project, and of course, as we are Buddhists, we should believe of the next life. We really should believe of the next life. Sajjad Pandita says that whatever you learn things, and that something that you should not think that you want to get back, but in the next life is something that your things, you say that to your friends, please keep this, and when I come back, I will take it, If you say that, then you will get your things. When you come back, you check. Similarity, that next life is, and whatever we learned on, we can easily get back. I believe that really very strongly, actually, because like for me, and I have not so big problem to learn Tibetan. Maybe I'm a little believe I was somehow some Tibetan, and maybe Finnish I think is difficult for me, so maybe I didn't learn in my long term, maybe very, very long term possible, but now I forgot, it's difficult. That is a little joke, but anyway, they said nothing. So therefore, that Tendru, the diligent is very, very kind of, how should say, the diligent is such things, okay? And then also methods, such kind of Mahayana methods, even doing same things, 10 virtue kind of actions, but Mahayana, they talk, the method is like such kind of bodhicitta mind, non-conceptualizations, and dedications. This kind of methods makes also one same action, but merit is very big different. So these kind of methods are done existing. And then also accomplishing, the end, your really result is also in the Mahayana, you get fully awakened or enlightenment. And in the Hinayanas, they are more like, they call ahats. So still they have to journey into the Mahayana. And the end is what they call is that also activities. Buddha's Mahayana, that when you're in enlightenment, your activities are limitless, right? That in the so therefore activity is also very big different. In the ahats, when you are enlightened in the ahats, then yourself it will be very peace. That was the discretion, yourself at peace. There's nothing much talk about benefit of others and things like that. So there's 7 different ways they talk about Mahayana. So when we are following the masters, such in the Mahayana it says that you should follow who really knows about the Mahayana teachings. Who knows the meaning of Mahayana. And also the teacher should have such kind of bodhicitta's mind or bodhicitta actions. And once, if we possibly or by chancely, if we met such things, then we really need to follow. That follow means that I think whatever master says, we need to listen. Yes sir! Right? But we, including of myself and all of, I think most of us have problem. When we have really very good time, when we have good mood, and then we go to the Seal Amas and do something. But then mostly like we are busy ourselves, We are really busy ourselves. And the follow means, even in Hinayana, they say that you have to follow at least 12 years. And that time, even you go to the P, you have to get permission from the teachers. That was in the Vinaya Sutra says. So I think when we were young, we are not really follow the masters like that, but we study how to read and write it. And we really need to get permission from P. Some teachers, they don't give permission for tea. And then certain kids, they cannot hold tea, They are tea making in the cloth and like that. So like for even my time, in ancient time, for sure there's really such things. So today, if we don't let go to P, then I think your destination is something different. So the really in the Hinayana they talk about how to follow the masters, and in Mahayana when they follow the masters, when you read about the crying of the Bodhisattvas and the Norzong and those things, if you read those, how they you know, kind of give way of the part of the body and etc. And they can do this. They are very, how you could say, like one certain levels, you know, then if really we have such enthusiasm, we can give up many things, you know. There's such people when they really, how you would say that, love the teachers or teachings, like we can, how you would say, we offered many nice things to the lamas very happily and things like that. There is also some kind of sign of the how we are really enthusiasm and like that and so on and so forth. So the great practitioners, the following masters, they are very joy. So such joys, even small sufferings, they don't really even realize, you know. So we need such things if we really met such great masters, okay? And then way of the, I think, follow this many different topic anyway, but generally they're talking about that the great masters are such as the great doctor and ourselves are the really patient, I think patient, right? Patient, sick person anyway. Like if they have such big sick, you know, not small headache or stomach or something, but you have to follow such very clearly, otherwise it's very dangerous situation. So we need to ourselves think as like that, and Dharma is really medicine, and teachers' advice is such that you can also, that doctors advise, you know, what you can eat, what you cannot eat. So these are we can put together, it's similar like that, the Buddha mentioned these things. So that way we need to follow the masters. So this is the talking about that, you know, how to follow the Gevishinians or Bodhisattvas or now where was that now? This is also didn't find. Sorry?
Verse 103 in the middle, you finish Sri Sambhava's life, and then this and the other teachings of the Buddha.
The two numbers, what are you talking?
103.
Sorry?
103.
Yeah,
You finished half, but half is left.
Yes.
103, there's no verses 103, what?
103, verse 103, you finished as described in Sri Sambhava's life, but this and other teachings you have not said yet.
Yeah. And verses, 103 verses.
103, 103, 103.
103 verses, I don't find that.
Page 76.
No, page 76, okay. So, what's that, page 76?
Yeah, verse 103, and you read the two first lines.
Okay, 103, and I left, yes. Okay. That is
This and other teachings.
제 번역은 난다. 이라마데 따르스 그렇다니 그게 영어서 뭐게 봐. Okay, I think he used about this creation of the one of this Bodhisattva's name. So here the Uchitome, he puts some quotations and what about his biographies, his kind of way. And they say that this master, whatever master says, this Bodhisattva, Shri Sambhava, he do things like no such kind of sad or unhappy and like that, doesn't have such things. They give example of the like earth, he says. So earth is everyone can use, but earth doesn't have such kind of feeling of now too much or something. And he was something like that. And that devotion is indestructible, no change, like Vajra, he says. And he says that he is no such kind of fear of the sufferings. So whatever he need to do around the masters, like he is become slaves, and still his mind is very joy. And there's no such also proud, always very respect and, such things. So he used those kind of few examples of these masters. And then next is that, then plus hippy ten doesn't without Sonji Katsava, Dodelani Hippotes, okay, there's no Sonji Katsanya. So this, and then that Shantin Deva mentioned that we should read the other books of the Buddha's teaching, how you follow the masters, I'm saying that these and other teachings of the Buddha, you should understand to reading in these sutras. Again, indeed, within these sutras, all the practices are found. Therefore, read and study them. The Sutra of Essence of the Sky, for instance, is the text that should be studied first. All that must be practiced constantly is clearly and extensively explained within the digits of the old disciplines. So this is something you should read repeatedly. And from time to time, to sake of brevity, consult the digits of the sutras. And those two works pure with diligence that noble Nagarjuna has composed. Whatever in these works is not prescribed, be sure to undertake and implement. And what you find, enjoy, there perfectly fulfilled. And so protect the mind of worldly beings. That is the all they call, mainly they mentioned about to read the books, in order to follow the masters and practice of the Mahayana. Dodelani Hibachi, Dodelani Habana, Devin Dodelani, Nangin Dodel, Tomani the Tash, Gonshi Tata Shebana, Teleja, Hlabakan Tubai, Wapakun Tubai, Nepal Yon. This, Hlapakun Tupa, I think this is the gist of all this plan. This is Shandin Deva's book, Shandin Deva's book. Nepal Yona Reshim, Donakun Tuba, Papa, Literature. It's Ndotu, it's one of the collection of the sutra that's written by the Nagarjunas. And one is called Collection of the Training, Lapakun. These two things are, this Lapakun is written by Shandideva himself. These two things he said to read. Kono Makapa Tenisheba Shavati, Jigan Sunu Samson, Lapantama Yondashi. So the last one, even, if there is not something kind of says that you shouldn't do, those things we can do, and if they didn't say like that, the last one's a little bit kind of important, but maybe now I think it's okay. Gomba Shinja, Goni Kamatan Makao, and the Sheba Shed, and you didn't understand what they were so the love to so the Teo Antonio, so mostly I think what's supposed to do is they mentioned in that the gist of all this plan looks like, or someone the sutra of the essence of the Lord. This other one is what? There was to Nagarjuna's teaching was what's name?
Digest of the sutras.
These digest of the sutras, right? Digest of the sutras. These two, if you follow those two things, then looks like we are fine. somebody saying something into the temples, and now here about particularly that vigilance, introspection, the kind of nature of something, they talk about. Ludong Sembi, Nikala, Yonda, Tabarsha. Then you come on, Donald, Hijan song, then you do. So, Rondo Shibu, Rondo Luma, yes, Nikala, Yonda, Tabarsha. So, Hijan, the alarm means is that such that we know what we can do, what we cannot do. Then awareness for this, what they call vigilant introspection, it is very difficult words, right? Means the definition of that is that we should always watch to our body, our speech, our mind. Am I doing correct or not? By the speech, by the word, physically and mind. This is, analyze them always. And mindfulness helps that are we analyzing? So that is like how the protector of the vigilance of introspections. And then, that is like, but all this must be acted out in truth for what is the, maybe update. Examine again and yet again the state and actions of your body and your mind. This alone defines in brief the maintenance of watchful introspections. That is the definition of that vigilant introspection. Okay? And then here is Jilla Jerubebas. So now this one is also very important, that we need to effort to really put into our mind. He tried to more like advise to us that try to put everything in the mind, in the daily life, in the, even when we're eating and walking and such things. So I will read first in English. But all this must be acted out in truth. For what is the big gained by mounting syllables? What's called? Syllables.
Mouthing syllables.
Syllables. That involved was ever helped by merely reading in the doctor's treatises. Of the religion of the Shepherd, Susan, Jishin. Never Panjera. So that is the true, right? If someone just reading of this definition of the medicine, no one can free from sickness. Likewise, that today I am talking and you hear it. Tomorrow maybe you will read. Maybe one day you will also talk. So, but if we have nothing in our mind, then it's the problem. So therefore, this is like something there was more, how you could say, that advice to us that we should put in mind as practice every day. Okay? Meaning madness. Then just what Tome says here, mindfulness and vigilant introspection. These two are such like two eyes. If we do not have these two things, even you have such kind of hearing, wisdom, reflection wisdom, or other qualities of the body, even very powerful. Such person who has such really energetic body, but if they have no eyes, then this body is not much use. Likewise, that this mindfulness and vigilant inspection are two eyes. If you don't have that, all other quality, whatever you have, you cannot do much things. 사실 chili munibis, you cannot go far away. Therefore, he says, you should keep these two things, those wise ones that he says. Wise ones, you should keep two things, okay? And that is the life, I think, what they call vigilance inspection chapters are finished. And now, and these two things are more, about ethic of the parameters, second parameter, ethic parameter. So actually, that whoever training of the ethic, then is to mindfulness and other vigilant inspections are very important. So therefore, these two belong to the ethic. Now, like third one, the sixth chapter is like third parameters. We call parameter of patience. I think and that is the subject is first kind of root subject is true. They're saying that it is very correct to meditate on patience. And second is how to meditate, the method of the how to meditate. The two is main kind of subject. And then first one they're showing that the fault of the anger, a benefit of the passion. And then first one has three, they do the temple also. So the result of the unseen, result of the seeing, and essence is kind of three. And then first, Kawa Tondo Sawai, Yen of the Shinchola, Leshe Kong, Kanjo, Kondrajigan Jamashi, Shedonta with the government, Zobata with Katame, David Zola, Nazo Sajikamasha, that is very important word again. So, okay, maybe I think first I read this, okay? Sixth, passion. All the good works gathered in 1,000 years, means eons, such as deeds of generosity and offerings to the blissful ones. A single flash of anger shattered them. No evil is there similar to anger. No, what is this? Austerity to be compared with passion. Step yourself, therefore, in patience, in various ways, insistently. Various ways, instantly. So here, what is the real topic? If someone, even thousands of eggs, the collection of the merit through the offering, for instance, to the object, to the such kind of Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. And that is something very big things, very big things. And not only offerings, but any kind of collect of the virtues. That if someone really has such kind of strong anger or hatred, and that can be destroyed. So therefore, this hatred is really very big kind of actually that negative emotions. Also, you can see the really main cause to bring into the hell realm is also anger. Anger is the main cause to be born the hell realms. So therefore, here says, there's no such kind of what they call evil, similar to angers. So therefore, if someone tries to be meditation on passion or tolerance, that also has such power, virtue, such great virtue. So that's the reason also that we should really effort to the what they call tolerance, and with various kind of ways. However, this was like chanting that was mentioned. Then this has many topics, before, because there is such kind of virtue that one virtue is with only kind of worldly virtues. There is no such renunciation, bodhicitta, but still you can offer, 1,000 eons or things like that to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, right? And then certain virtue which you can offer to Buddhas and Bodhisattvas with renunciation mind, with wish to be free from samsara, etc. Then certain virtue you can do exactly same, and that virtue is we call with bodhicitta mind and wisdom or compassion, and then we call that that virtue is we call, I think that we call, what its name is that, an endowment of the, I think, wisdom and method, something like that. So Mahayana is kind of accumulation merit. So therefore, so that first one we call like kind of merit without any kind of method and wisdom. That is like very ordinary, ordinary kind of virtues, ordinary beings' virtues, such kind of generosity and etc. Then second, that Shavakayanas and Patika Buddhayanas, they have such kind of wisdom. They know the selflessness. So that virtues we call, which they have such kind of wisdom virtues. And this course can be similar of the also liberations. This course goes to us liberations. And then Mahayanas, they have wisdom and also methods. So these kind of virtues, I think they call them both anyway method and wisdom. So then now question is, what kind of virtue will be destroyed? Is this Mahayanas virtue will be destroyed, or Hinayanas virtue will be destroyed, or general virtues will be destroyed? Someone was strong angry. So the questions. So the answer is that if you have really Mahayana virtues, which is has like compassion and wisdom, we do dedication. So the method means that as soon as we do that generosity, and we can dedicate it. So that is something that no one can destroy. So some virtues which have both method and wisdom, Mahayana virtues, those maybe cannot destroy such that easy. And even the Hinayanas, or that someone has like that understood of the selflessness, and or maybe more like close to the like that, and those also is very hard to destroy too. But mainly what they're talking about is like more that first one, which is they know such kind of wisdom or methods, and that kind of maybe merit can be destroyed. That is one way explanation. Then other way is that also object of the angers, like if you're really angry to the like Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and that is very big thing. So those are also, the object is very high, so therefore it is destroyed. So there's like something like that, okay, you should know that. So therefore, whatever we do, some virtue actions, it's very important to have the bodhicitta mind and the dedications. At least we should try all the time. Okay, that is the one thing. And those are like something that we don't see. We don't see these things. Only Buddhas knows this. And the Sutta teachings are mentioned. So something that result we cannot see. So therefore, I think the result of non-seeing result, the subject they talk about something like that, Manavati, the result which something we don't see. Buddha descriptions like that. And then something result we see by the angers, and then this is coming here, That's something we can feel it. What they talk is here, what the talk here is that such anger minds, if we keep in our mind, then for surely our self is suffering. Right? Suffering is there. So mind has never become equals, and mind not have any joys. So therefore, whatever we see is unpleasant. Whatever we hear, also unpleasant. You know, when you have such strong anger mind, whatever you eat, there's no taste. Not good at all. So, mind has to really suffering. Object is also not pleasant. So this person is, we can see clearly how the bad is. You know, the anger is how the bad is. Not only that, he says, even you can't sleep. That is true, right? If you are very strong, and sleeping is very important. Even of the food, you know, sleeping. I think if you are lack of sleeping, then it's great suffering. Pneumonia. Then listen so much about it. And then what he says here is that also both your mind and body become very weak. You know, cannot be strength. And that is something that we can see. And that is also one more thing. And this is also, you know, in the ancient times, the kings have many people around. And they give food, and they give clothes, maybe they give also house and like that. But then certain kings, they really very kind of short tempers, and maybe they kill also those people, such like that. And the end, what happened is that those people can against the kings. Maybe can be king also killed by the very close servants, if that kings are very kind of anger mind or difficult people. That is the also you can see the result of the anger. So generosity kind of practitioners, maybe they collect many people, kind of comes, you know, if you are very generous, then many people come to you. But if someone very short tempers, and then everyone just run away from that. So this is like how the result of the anger. And then as they mentioned about how unhappy of yourself. But of course, not only that, but the surroundings. You know, everyone destroyed, everyone's happiness is destroyed. So therefore, that anger or what is called hatred, whatsoever is not very nice kind of elements. So those tormented by the pain of anger never know tranquility of mind, and then strangers, they will be to every pleasure, they will neither sleeping nor feel secure. I think the people we get today, this kind of, you know, anxiety, depression, all these things are also one of these are very involved. Even those dependent on their Lord for gracious gift of honor and of wealth will rise against and slay. A master who is filled with what? Wrath and hate. Okay? Master with wrath and hate. Depende la sober goes. Then it's like only virgin. That is the which someday you can see the results, okay? And then here is the maybe essence, some kind of essence of the that music tembala. Nonna truly deni but denen gayo yomaya. So jai tela dunga tan sheparan jero. Nonna truly deni but gayo yomaya. Truly jai tela sabando yeni dunga ta sheparos. I think this is quite easy to understand. I will read. His family and friends are givers and not served by his gift at all. So enter here is the previous ones, okay? Enter here is previous ones. The master, they use master, but in Tibetan I think more like king and those things and some kind of, I don't know, this maybe also master can be king. But Tibet was Japan is more like king. And his family and friends, he grieves and is sorry?
Grieves.
Grieves and is not served by those his gifts attract. And then from here is more like the essence of those meanings. Again, no one is that all in all, who being anger lives and ease. All these ills are brought about by wrath. Our sorrow brings animals, or enemies, or animals. Okay? Do not understand true dies, so that the thing is that enemy of the really anger is makes like unhappy ourselves or suffering ourselves and also others. Okay, that is the how the fault of the headache. And then the benefits here, and this they're talking about benefit is that if someone, with effortly try to come over with this anger or try to remove of this anger with mindfulness, vigilant introspections, then the people will start the happiness, not only this life, but also next life. So in this, the last word, the benefit part, what they talk about life and next life. So same things when they talk about fault. This life also suffering, and also next life is too. And this life suffering ourselves and also others too. So therefore, these kind of teachings you can also kind of compare, I think compares also up and down and things like that. So you can understand that when they talk about benefit paths, they say happy of these and next lives, then certainly you need to know also the worst or the sad is also not only these lives. So that is one thing. And then next is how to meditate about our passions. Again, there is the two. One is firstly very brief and then makes very detailed. And the brief has also two things in this case. Tembala English. So firstly, the core thinking of the fault of the cause. And when you know that fault, then we see the kind of revolt, I think. So first is Mundo Hina, Nova Keje Pali Shonjirpa, Yen Deva Senini, Hibate, Hedonti, the Don Jamso, Mundo Bashibato, Ndobi Keshebato, Ndobi Keshebato. So that is maybe first I read from you, okay? Read, and this says, getting what I do not want, and all that hindrance by desire. In discontent my anger find it is fuel. Okay, fuel. From these it grows and beats me down. So what is fuel?
Gasoline.
There is no gasoline.
Yeah, but it means that anything like that you can.
But they should have to
I think it's talking more about like that anger is like a big fire, and then the discontentment just like adds more and more wood to that fire.
This is the very big wrong. The translation is wrong. Translators are wrong here.
Okay.
So there is no such thing. They use food. You translate food as fuel. How can you? It's too different.
Food and fuel, it is kind of the same because humans need food and it is their fuel.
Yeah.
It is like.
Then why don't you use food?
Maybe fuel is for
Nobody uses fuel.
Yeah. For the English it is like more appropriate.
I think it's a really big mistake. So, human beings cannot use fuel, can you?
Food is the fuel.
Yes. No, food is not fuel. Fuel is what you can put in the car and airplane, these things.
But fuel is like generally meaning that it can, like if you add something, then something comes out of it or something. For example,
there's many things. Then water is also fuel. Then if you say like that,
sorry?
water is also can fuel.
Like energy.
If your explanation is like this. Right? Okay. But anyway, this is like the examples. That what example is that the foods makes your body become bigger and bigger. You know, body becomes strength by food. That's the commentaries and others are saying like that. Likewise, if we make this anger become growth by the angers, don't care, and growth, then what will be happening is that it gives only undesired things, and it gives also very obscures what we really desire once, what we wish once. It brings undesired things, and it stops the desired things. So so the more like I think that the example is that the food, like makes that your body becomes strength, or likewise that if this hedon, anger, if you give more and more kind of powers, then it will be happening such things. So therefore, this should be abandoned. It's abandoned of the anger is the really correct, I think. They're saying something like that. The dance, and the next subject is the more logic. The dog Davati Sena number Yamarjas. The dollar nobody done legend. Kilapano dog in the Gavi in the Tumuja, Magashi, Domo, Gavatan, Yamarja, Kade choose Yunan, Telamagati, Kade choose Menan, Telamagati Japan. So this is also very important part. So because of that anger, if we give more kind of, energies, foods, make more kind of power, then what will happen is that our mind never become happy. All happiness will be destroyed by these angers. So because of that, which something makes harm to us, we call enemies. So the anger is the most highest of the enemies for us to really destroy our own happiness. So there is no such higher enemy than anger, he says. And because of that, whatsoever happened, we need to think, I will not, that my mind make mixture or, how should I say, messed up by the angers. So we have to kind of think, and we try to do, we need to think and also try to really practice. Why? Because when this our mind become messed up or unhappy, then we cannot, accomplish anything, and also our virtues are become decreasing. So therefore, that is also one of the reasons. If someone really has such anger mind, I think we cannot do much. We can see, we have sometimes anger, and all day it's like off, day off, almost we can say. We don't want to, even we try to do, it's not very clear, mind is mixed up. So that makes also our life is become shorter and shorter. If this mind, if they too strongly all the time, this kind of messed up with anger, things like that, it is really, that is also cause of life, Even in the Vajrayana teachings, there's many, how you should say that, fighting is very kind of one of the big things. And because of the students, they are kind of fighting, because of that, there were historically many masters are passed away. So even the kind of influence of the angers, even high realizations can affect it. So therefore, this anger and these kind of things, if we have, the mind is not joy, and on the top of that, we cannot accomplish our wishes, and the top of that, this is all your virtues which you have created before, that can be also decreased, and there is no such way to, how you say, there is no such good things are there. So that's the reason also we should avoid these angers. Then this last quotation, this last one, is very popular one. Very popular ones. Where was there? This last one is now is gone. Where I read it? The last one. This quotation is stated. Don't you think? Last quotation. If is number 10. If there is a remedy when troubles strikes, what reason is there for dejection? And if there is no help for it, what use is there in being calm? So this, I think the translators are different. Some translators are a little bit more easy to read and maybe a little bit more understandable than this one. In my level of the English, okay? But of course, then high levels are different. So anyway, these are also really important. You can use any tense and every tense. It is very logic, right? If there is something that we can do, and there's not much point to thinking about it. So if we can really thinking of this and try to practice this any kind of difficult situation, I think we can get good result. And might be you like then Bodhicaya Avatara. So like that, okay? That is the one thing. So basically what they're saying is that we should keep mind very freely, don't too much kind of grasping and keep the angers a long time. We have, sometimes angers because the object is very kind of, object is very strong, The one of the, how you should say that, rising of the negative emotion is object. If there's certain object really gives those kind of things very strongly. However, still we try to use some methods to let go, be peace, think of yourself. If you are ahats or someone hinayanas, or then think of others. If you are manamayanas, practitioners. That is the time where we are. Okay, then I want to go to one more these things, and then that is for the nice. Okay, okay, then we got the more details. These are two, and probably you were hidden. They're talking about general of the object of the anger. And second is that I think it's what called deny of the wrathful or anger or something like that. Deny, should deny, shouldn't. They basically say shouldn't anger. You know, first they show the object, general object of the anger, and second say that should stop to anger. Okay. That he namla dunga ni to tsitsup to manye shija mundo te dala teli to so was that he namla dunga to ni ba manye ba tsitsuji me ba traman ju manye ba shija ba mundo ji doba ju doba do te dala teli to bina ta dunga to doba devala so ba okay, this is like general of the kind of way to anger. So there's two things, myself and my friend. These two things, okay? And then if someone makes you suffering and you are angry, and someone makes you like push down, or inwardly also that if someone saying good things, you know, like if you are Bodhisattva, okay, I think in ancient time, the Buddha's time, the old practitioners to begging every day. But if someone saying to in the village saying this monk or practitioner is not good or something, in order to get something from this family, you know, let's say like Petty gives me meals every day. And then Lily went to the factory and saying, oh, this is not good man, you know, this is not practitioner, etc. something. So changing this mind and whatever he gives to me, and this lady can took it, you know, because saying something. So this is what we call is that, then you don't get that. So someone make like this to you, and normally they are angry. So this, I think the words manyepa, something you don't get, you know, from somewhere. That is the important. This man has to rely on that person for lunch, and now someone else talk to bad things to me, and this man is changing mind, and now you don't get. So therefore, you will be angry. This has happened many times in India, I think, or maybe here also. And that is one thing. And then someone really harsh words to you, and or saying bad things. Oh, you are a liar, you are a stealer, and you are fake or something. You know, this makes also we are angry. And that is three. And then someone talking about just generally bad things, you know, generally bad things. Like not present things, you know, to about me. And that brings you angry. These kind of four things. And same way, if your dear friends, if someone tells you that your dear friend, these four things, and that makes you also angry. So therefore, there's 8 objects of the anger. Then other things. You have enemies, for instance. And this enemy, someone talk about good things, this enemy. Or make opposite of the suffering, what they call, I think it's Bhagavad Gita, you know, saying give some pleasures, maybe you angry. And talk some nice things, you angry. So these 4 things they talk about your enemies, that makes also angry. So therefore there is kind of 12 things, you know, 12 kind of objects. And then this makes also past, present, futures, they make many numbers, but this 12 is like very kind of general, very simple ones. So if someone does this, normally it raises to the angers. Okay, it raises to the angers. So now they are talking about, okay, this is, I will read in English, what's called, humiliations, result
Insults.
Insults.
or insults, or rebukes. We do not want them, either for ourselves or those we love. For this we do not like. It is reverse. Okay. I think that Dalatelido means like the enemy talk about good things, giving present, praise, kind of gentle words. If you do it, that makes you unhappy, right? Believe? Okay. So nowadays they're talking about this is the object of the anger, but then now changing they were trying to say you should not anger to these things. So it will be very nice things coming. Tela chowa gaba ni mundoba sheba mundoba ke chi bi chowa gaba was tombola so the dala ni ba yedo hila ni ba yedo dala le ba ye sheba la chowa gaba tombola ni bi dala dunga sheba. There is like many kind of list inside, so maybe I will go one by one, okay? Dunga le yes, dunga le ke ko bi rongjen do 인종 문제도 강배도가 되면 얘네들 넘버 일을 세워 So that first is they are accepting of the suffering, like more like you can really take suffering into with you, you know, because that's, if you have David in the Renganjamo, Dungajan, Henda Monse. And because I think the first is more they talk about nature of the samsara. So there is not necessarily you are kind of anger to some object, you know, specific those objects, but as long as we are being in the samsara, there is suffering. There is suffering. Not something, only this object of those 12 kind of things, but being in samsara, there's so many causes and conditions of the sufferings. So therefore, first, the nature of is suffering. David Renga, he did, and Kovala David Gevala Subarenga, Sanjong the Gamas. So the cause of the happiness is the virtue thoughts, virtue minds. And that is very difficult in the samsara. You know, the desire is something that we call negative emotion. But it's full of object of the desire. Then how we can be happy? Right? If we don't mindfulness, if we are not such things. And then if we talk about this object of anger, and then object of the jealous, and things are full. So therefore, the virtue thoughts are rare. That is the one thing. And then so many causes of the unvirtue things. So there's effortlessly the cause of suffering is the appearance. So therefore, so suffering it comes by naturally in samsara. So therefore, not only specific you are angry somewhere, but you should be more tolerance is best, because there's always suffering. Even those objects are not there, and still as long as we are samsara, there is suffering. So therefore, we should be tolerant. And then next is they're talking about the suffering itself. You know, before they talk about object, someone gives you a suffering. That way we are angry, right? So now they're talking about the suffering not necessarily given by someone, but it's naturally there. The one reason is that cause of suffering is unvirtue, and that comes effortlessly, everywhere, wherever we are, right? Also because of that we are suffering too. And now then next they're talking about this renunciation. Suffering can be the cause of the renunciation. In that case, maybe suffering also can be good, you know. Dunga maybe ninjong me. Devi sent you temper news. This is very good words. Kado teno, kanava seno jesu, soan, temezo je kawai, tendo je dago. So he says, without suffering, we cannot have such kind of renunciations. And not only that, also compassion. That is also based on the suffering. So therefore, he says, when you are suffering, mind, talking to the mind, you should take this suffering and rely on that. For instance, and then it's called this, for instance, on you 가서 또 한번 엄마가 대바 다 땡단들 세글라서 뭐 세자 기감 so that in the Hindus historically that we call there's one deity called Mahadeva, and he also make hardships for this Uman Devi, like Uman Devi is like his consort, right? So they have such kind of, the Hindus, they have such kind of, that hardships in order to anyway this Mahadeva and the Devis like more showing of the devotions. They do such kind of hardships, and also saying that the certain in the South Indias there is also fighting each others, kind of they are like today we are playing of the football. Similarly of them, they are also fighting in early times, and that time you really get a lot of kind of hurts, suffering of the knives and etc. And people have such kind of patience. So therefore, we who are really want to be totally free from the suffering or samsara, so why we should be kind of scared of this sufferings, small sufferings? Why we should not take of the passions? That's what they are saying. So if we are not be patient to the suffering, it's not correct. That was basically saying here, okay? So this verses came from this 12th half. But if I have no pain, I will never long for freedom. Therefore, O my mind, be satisfied. And then they talk about the carnal folks. And this is like, I think, in commentaries they're talking about in South Indians. But I don't know exactly, of course. And those devoted to the Godis. What is endure is what?
Endure.
Endure is what?
It is like they tolerate.
Okay, endure the meaningless austerities of being cut and burned. So why am I so timid on the path of freedom? Okay? And then I think this second is that saying that if we are tamed, meditate, it should be possible. There is nothing impossible if someone really train or practice. And this is also very popular words. We always use many books. The quote is very popular. So, 가나 사bat 문제 문제 공부 요만 대외 너가 총가 너가 치고 너가 샤오 가나 사bat 문제 공부했더니 공나 요만 빼나 건배는 세나잖아 등하다 대화는 것이 보이잖아. 어제 사람가 등하 통제는 대외는 것이 봐셔. 야생적으로서 최통 제가 대화로 시작을 되게부터 번째로 So when the Buddha, he met, after Buddha enlightenment, that Buddha's father was king, very proud man. He really long time upset of his son because first he heard the message was that Buddha was enlightenment, and he was very happy, you know, thought, oh, that is something special. But second, when Buddha really tried to manifest in the world, and Buddha, they teach that, or himself also begging, and his followers are also begging, and they live in the forest and doing such things. When he heard that, he was really upset. He thought, now he just put all our kingdom is down very much, you know. How he can be begging these things like that? He was very angry. And many years he don't want to talk. But then slowly, you know, like many of his ministers, you know, he's like very close people, whoever said Buddha, they never came back. You know, they are staying with him, they are doing same things. And then he was little doubt, okay, maybe he has something, you know. He lost now, you know, his own great people, they didn't come back, you know, they live home, they live wife, they live family. So then one time he asked, now he could come to here and see us. And then Buddha came, and they are talk. You know, when they are sick, they are talk. And in that he said, Buddha said, I have learned now everything has become cause of happiness. He was told that, you know. And there was called Sutta of the meeting, father and son. So in that, so here similarity, if we are really meditate, and then become everything cause of the wonderful things, that is also possible, you know, very possible. But we are lack of diligence, and our mind is very chicken mind sometimes when we are concerned of the practice. So this is the problem, okay? So the verse number 14. There is nothing that does not grow light through habit and familiarity. Putting up with little cares, I will train myself to bear with great adversity. Right?
Adversity, yeah.
Adversity.
Pretty close.
Very close, right? If perfect, then become I'm omniscient. Okay. So therefore, I think that one lifetime suffering is really, it's very possible. It's not so very big, but of course, for us, like one day suffering is very long. So this is the problem, you know. So here they're saying that this small suffering we should bear, and there is something good thing somewhere. So it's very good hope at least. Suffering can be, you know, bring very high hope. If you bear this, there is something good things, you know. May possible also next time a little worse, but still we need to hope, you know. And when I was 13 years old, I ran away from my home to the Lhasa. And that was like, I think, 1,000 kilometers. And then we walked, and there's mountain. I thought, okay, we crossed that mountain. And when there was not so far, you know, we tried hard. And when we see on the top of that mountain, there's another mountain, even a little bit more higher than that, you know. And there's many mountains like that. So sometimes little mountains give very strength, you know, to, if there's not this little mountain there, already see the highest mountain, maybe we cannot go, you know, we give up. But these little mountains give like very strength of the big next mountain, you know, cross. So similarity like the small kind of the sufferings, if we kind of bring into our practice, that can be really, you know, gives like more hopes. You know, if I bear this, there's such merit, you know, it brings joy sometimes. But can be right after there is joy, but can be sometimes there's another mountains, but somehow like if we, that way we can train our mind. Okay? That way we can train our mind. That is the way it is now. I think this is something that I think then it's supposed to be okay. Okay, now these are also two things. No, James, today no break, okay? Firstly, I warn to you that there's no break today. 저도 샤다 다도 지금라서 저와도 예말라서 지금이 때문에 되는 기만. 사람 총도 오케이. 감바시에 누가 좀 때문에 저도 샤종 다도. 감바시에 누가 좀 때문에 저도 샤종 지금라서 저와 예말라서 지금이 때문에 되는 기만 것이 되네. 대단 통에 된게라서 말이죠. So now they're more talking about that the people who are suffered by the like snake or insect, mosquitoes, hungry, thirsty, like some kind of sick, there's many kind of sufferings, right? We are bear these things. But these things are nothing with link of mindfulness or Buddhicitta mind, or taking care of others, or such things like that. But still we are buried. We gain jobs, lost jobs, and like business bankrupt. So there's many kind of sufferings in our lives, right? Stock market is sometimes up and sometimes down, and people are, like there are a lot of sufferings come, but still we are here. We are bear those things. So there's not much really meaning there. Those meanings maybe can be one lifetime. Not more than that. Even not one life, I think many of those. But somehow like we have such kind of tolerance. So if we take those examples, so why would not, take kind of tolerance if we do such kind of great things? For instance, of the benefit of others, benefit of yourself, and for enlightenment, etc. So that is that they are talking more things. 사람 총도 봉수 내돈 친구도 대발라서 그렇게 세례 소생 총은 뭐야대. So now what we need to do is that this is called important parts and where we are now. Okay, don't see that this is no with common irritations, beads and sting of snake and flies, experience of hunger and thirsty and painful rush on the skin, heat and cold, the wind of rain, snake, sickness, prison, bathings. I will not fear about such things. I do so only aggravative my troubles. What is aggravative my troubles?
It increases, just like kind of like, when you have a bad itch, mosquito itch, when you scratch it, it aggravates the itch.
Okay. There is some whose bravery increases at the sight of their own blood, while some lose all their strength and faint when it's others' blood they see. This results from how the mind is set, in steadfastness or cowardice. What means cowardice? So anyway, I think the essential of these teachings are this, basically that we should train our mind, slowly. So there are certain people, the example is certain people when they see the blood, their own blood, that makes them more brave. That is also, they came through the kind of practice, the armies and so on, they're doing such things in that way, and they have such things. And then certain people, even they see some other people's blood, they are scared, they're shaking their hearts. This is also one kind of way to train the mind. So therefore, like we just to learn the tolerance through, small sufferings. Such kind of hot and cold and rainy and wind and etc. sick and things like that. So one word they call zere. Zere is like important. We learned these things before, but now I don't remember this English today, so we can talk tomorrow, okay? So I will stop here. Or maybe one word. So there's like one subject more essential. Maybe no but check it, do not know the musician, keep it, do not show on the center of the Yomayas. Come to it, no but on the check it, do not know the musician. So Jazzy Shivala says that we should go beyond the, this, how should say, suffering by the harmful actions with your power of the meditation. That where the wise ones do. And because of that, the wise ones, even their sufferings, they mess up their minds. So this is like very end of one of the topic. So I read that, okay. And so I will scorn all injury and hardship. I will disregard it. Disregard it when sorrows fall upon the wise. Their mind should be serene and understandable. What is called? Undisturbed, right? For in their war against the defiled emotions, or maybe this I think two lines are finished, and therefore in the war is different. This is like more about the quality of the patience and yes, so maybe I will stop here today.